Have you ever ridden past a skate park and thought to yourself, oh, it would be so fun to ride in that spot, but I just don't know where to start? This video is going to be for you. We're going to share all kinds of information about skate parks. We're going to give you the do's and don'ts. We're going to teach you some of the first tricks you're going to learn and just get you comfortable getting into a skate park and doing it the right way. Skate parks are basically everywhere right now, and it's the perfect place to develop your bike handling skill. So let's go check this place out. First things first, you got to name it to tame it. So I'm going to run you through this skate park and I'm going to tell you the names of all of the different features here. Every skate park's a little bit different, but most of them have some really common features, and that's what we're gonna go through. Behind me is a quarter pipe. This is the most common feature in the skate park. In fact, the whole skate park is kind of made out of quarter pipes. It's the transition that gets you in and out of the skate park. They come in all different sizes and shapes, and the taller they are, usually the steeper they are. When we talk about quarter pipes, one thing we talk about a lot is transition, and that's basically the space from the top to the bottom of the quarter pipe. And essentially what you want to do is catch as much transition as you can so you have the maximum amount of time to catch speed from the quarter pipe. So we're really worried when we're riding here about keeping our tires on the ground so we can build as much speed and momentum as possible, and using the transition of the quarter pipe is what's going to help you do that. This is a bowl corner. They're super fun to ride, and it's basically a giant berm that you can rip around. As you get more confident, you'll end up going higher and higher up onto this corner, and it's a great way to get speed for riding the rest of the skate park. See this corner here where the two quarter pipes come together? This is called a hip. Not every skate park has a big box jump, and the hip is a great option for people that want to jump and catch lots of air and come back down on the other side. This is called a bank, sometimes referred to as a wedge. Every skate park has quarter pipes and banks, and the difference between the two is that the quarter pipe will have a rounded radius transition, whereas a bank is just a flat angled piece. On top of this bank here is what's called a sub box, and a lot of advanced riders will come up here, jump to the sub box to do a trick, and then jump back into the bank. You can also have a rail up there, and you would just call it a sub rail. We're at the top of the biggest bowl in the skate park to talk about two more things. Number one is the deck, and that's the flat top of every ramp in this place. That's where you hang out when you're not riding, and then you drop into the transition to start riding. The thing that you drop in on is the coping. The coping is the line between the deck and the transition. Here we have pool coping. This is made of cement, and in other places in the skate park, it's actually made of metal. There's two different kinds. You can have either squared off or you can have rounded pipe. Here's the perfect place to show you exactly what I mean. This is rounded metal coping. This is square metal coping. Two recommendations I'd make before riding the skate park. Number one, get yourself some knee pads. I end up crashing on my knees all the time at the skate park, and this is a worthy investment. Number two, you want to pump your tires up a bit more than usual. I run about 60 PSI, and you may even consider going higher when you're riding. The reason for that is to have really low rolling resistance, and when you're riding transition, you want to go as fast as possible. If you have soft tires, it kind of sucks up all the momentum that you're creating, so making your tires full before you ride will make a huge difference in the way that you ride the skate park. If you have suspension on your bike, you might consider locking that out for the same exact reason. You don't want the bike to soak up all the momentum and speed that you're creating. Now that we know what we're riding, we need to know how we're going to ride it. And the key thing to know about riding a skate park is that it's all about keeping your momentum up and not necessarily pedaling to get speed. A big reason why I could ride my street trials bike in the skate park is because I'm using the transitions of the skate park to maintain and build speed to continue riding through the skate park. The best advice I can give you is to pump the transitions and the rollers in the skate park much like you would use a pump track, where you're pushing the wheels of the bike into the rollers to generate additional speed. Using the skate park to build and maintain your speed is the whole point of what we're doing here, and if you learn nothing else, it should just be about keeping your speed without needing to pedal all the time. The most important lesson I want to share with you about this whole skate park thing is about etiquette, and there are some unspoken rules that you need to know before you get in there and start riding. Number one is being mindful of the flow of the skate park. So especially as a trials rider, you might see a line where you want to jump from here to here to here, but a skate park normally goes one way and then back the other way, and you're thinking about riding across that. So be mindful that you may be actually interrupting the flow and try to find lines that go with the flow of the skate park instead. Number 2 kind of goes along with maintaining the flow, and that's to pick your line before you drop in. Know exactly where you want to go before you start riding, because there's nothing more annoying to the rest of the people at the skate park is for somebody to be in the flat bottom trying to figure out where they're gonna go next. Have your line planned out before you drop in to ride. This next one is very simple but extremely important. Do not be a snake. A snake is someone who cuts people off as they're trying to drop in, who's not taking turns with everyone else that's there. It's the most frustrating thing when a snake shows up at the skate park. Don't be that guy. Last but certainly not least, bring a good vibe to the skate park. You'll likely be there with skaters, with BMXers, all kinds of people there trying to have their own session, and bringing a positive and encouraging vibe goes a long way. A quick high five, a word of encouragement raises the level of the session, and especially if you're riding a bike with bigger wheels, you may not be instantly accepted, so going in there and bringing a good vibe and encouraging everybody goes a long way. Now that we've gone through all of the basics, let me demonstrate the first 5 things you'd probably want to work on when you get to the skate park for the first time. If there's anything in here that you'd like to see a bigger tutorial on, let me know in the comments. Number 1, the drop-in. This is the basic act of riding into the skate park, dropping down into the transition. It gets you into the skate park, off and running. Next is a basic turnaround where you're essentially hopping a 180 or you're carving around the quarter pipe. This is your turnaround that you need to come back the way you came. Number 3 is the fly out, and this is just jumping out of the skate park and back onto the deck. This is the easiest way to get out of the way of everybody else. Some people use it to do some tricks like manuals or jumps, and some people even use it to learn new tricks because it's a big ramp onto a flat landing. Number 4 is the manual. You may be able to do these already on flat ground, but the good thing about a skate park, the wedges will actually set you up in a position to do a manual. All you gotta do is hang on. Number 5, we start getting into more of the tricks that you're gonna do. This is called a tail tap. You can do these on banks, you can do these on the top of quarters, you can do them just about anywhere, especially if you're on a trials bike. You already know how to hop on your back wheel most likely. It's a cool way to start merging the two things together. Of these first 5 tricks, I did make a manual tutorial video, which you can find right here. Now go out there, have some fun, and remember, don't be a snake.